Nina, you actually think we're at a pretty interesting point in the trajectory of cloud adoption. What exactly do you mean?
Well, thank you, Carl. It's great to be here. It certainly has been a very bumpy road for public SaaS stocks. And if you're holding some of the newly minted tech IPO companies right now, you're not loving what you're seeing. However, if you take a zoom out just for a minute and look at where we are in the digital transformation, we believe we're still very early on in that journey. And that's why we at Index Ventures have been investing billions of dollars in private companies, really pushing this trend.
Are you in favor of names that have already sort of proven their mettle, right? The Salesforces and the Dropboxes of the world, or some of the newer players that we're just still starting to get familiar with in the last 12 months or so?
Well, I think if you stop and think about where we are, we had Act One, which are what I like to call the trailblazers, those that really empowered us to go from on-premise to the cloud, like AWS, Google Cloud Platform, Microsoft, et cetera. Then we had Act Two, which are like the Salesforces and Workdays of the world, which really rode the wave of that migration to cloud. And then you have Act Three, which are the companies I'm really excited about, which is vertical software companies, software built for one particular industry. And there's not a ton of those right now in the public markets. We have Shopify, we have Toast, we have Viva and Procore, but that's really where I see a lot of opportunity, companies that are disrupting massive, often overlooked markets.
Yeah, tell us more about your thesis here around the vertical SaaS companies. We were just talking about Toast yesterday, and I'm always surprised by how low the penetration is of these tech tools into some of these established fields. I mean, I think that the projection for Toast is in 6% of restaurants by the end of this year or something like that. So with that in mind, what's your sense of the full opportunity here, and what are some of those names we should be looking at?
Well, you really nailed it, Julia. I think if you think about where we are in these massive markets and how many things we still do with pen and paper, things like, for example, booking a doctor's appointment, filling out a car loan, or even signing up your child for preschool, there are massive industries, healthcare, transportation, education, that still use pen and paper to run their business. But a lot of these individuals, business owners, they would love to use software, but they don't want to buy software from some software developer sitting in Silicon Valley who has no idea what their day-to-day is like. They want to buy software that's built by people like them for people like them. And so I think, COVID helped accelerate a lot of the digital transformation we are seeing. And a lot of people in the public markets are wondering, well, have we seen really all that growth? Is that sustainable? But I'd have to guess, if you called any restaurant owner in the United States and asked them, would you rather go back to running your entire business using pen and paper? I'm pretty sure they're going to say no. So I think we're seeing a lot of opportunity there. And like you said, the market penetration is low single digits in some cases. And these markets are in the hundreds of billions of dollars. So we're just scratching the surface for vertical SaaS.
I'm really curious what you think there about just the basics of customer acquisition, right? Your Salesforces, your Slacks, they can go talk to a CIO. Suddenly you've got a huge customer, millions of dollars in revenue. Individual restaurant owners, much harder to attract, much harder to support. They churn off faster. Do you see that as a risk in this bet?
Customer acquisition is certainly more difficult when you're selling to small businesses, but the beauty of vertical software is two things. One, once you do get them to use your software, they often come and look at you to do other things. They don't want to buy 50 different point solutions. In fact, they look oftentimes to tech providers to be their A to Z solution for everything that they need. And then second, if you truly believe the promise of technology, especially for small businesses, that not only can it help you cut costs, but it can also help you increase revenue because you have better data to run your business, then I think a lot of these small businesses will continue to grow, which ultimately also benefits a lot of these vertical software companies.